Dear students, in this video we are going to discuss about monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies. Simply in the short form, they are known as MABs. A should be capital. Monoclonal antibodies. Simply we can say these are nothing but antibodies, but the productivity of these antibiotics are somewhat different. That's why they are called as monoclonal antibody. Why they are calling monoclonal antibody? What is the importance of monoclonal antibody? How they work? That we will discuss in this video. Okay, now we will see the definition of monoclonal antibody. A monoclonal antibody is an antibody. It is nothing but antibody. An antibody made by cloning a unique white blood cell. White blood cell. A monoclonal antibody is an antibody made by cloning a unique white blood cell. Means by using a single type of white blood cell, we are preparing one antibody through a process known as, or a technology known as cloning. We know about cloning. Cloning means production of similar things from one cell. For example, if we take one cell, whenever we produce n number of cells which is very identical to the parent cell, that process is known as cloning cell or clone. The cells produced through this process is known as clone. All clone cells are very identical to each other, which is very similar, 100% match with the parent. That is a clone. But in case of reproduction, what happened? Male and female gametophyte fuse and it gives somewhat hybrid, somewhat recombinant. That's why it will be more or less dissimilar from their parents, because it is sharing both male and female or father and mother characters. That's why it will be recombinant. But here in generally we will see clones in case of microbes like bacteria. Whenever we are growing one bacteria, they continuously divide through binary fission, and within no time they will produce n number of bacterial cells which is very similar to each other. That's why these colony or these group of cells called as clones, because they are identical to each other. That's why now we are doing some cloning of white blood cells to produce antibodies. Okay, before we going to discuss about monoclonal antibodies, we need to understand what is antibody and what is the structure of antibody. In the last video also we discussed about antibody. It is nothing but a protein, or otherwise known as immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin. What is the function of immunoglobulin or this antibody? It protects us from foreign particles or antigens, means disease causing agents. For example, it is the body of human being. We have immune system inside. Whenever an infectious agent trying to enter into our body, immediately or after enter into the body, okay, immediately our immune system secrete or release some protein substances called immunoglobulins. They effectively fight against these antigens, and finally these proteins kill the antigens. That's why we will be safe, or we will be resist on this attack. Okay, antigen attack. It may be bacteria, it may be virus, it may be fungus, whatever it may be. The system, immune system, release some antibody. These antibodies are useful to protect us from foreign particles or other dangerous particles. Okay, this is the function of antibody. Now we will see the structure of antibody and the parts of antibody. The typical structure of an antibody is, it is a Y-shaped protein having two arms, Each arm at the apex, it consists a specific sites which is useful to attach an antigen. Okay. Now these sites are called paratopes. Paratopes. There will be two paratopes on each antibody. These structures or these sites are useful to attach foreign particle, that is antigen. Okay. Here we will see the structure of antigen also. For example, it is, for example, a virus. It consists, here also the antigen also consists some specific sites called epitopes. These epitopes, it may be one or many, two, sometimes three, sometimes four, sometimes five. The number may vary from one antigen to another antigen. The epitope is useful to attach this paratope. Okay. Now we will see how the monoclonal antibodies are differ from other normal antibodies, or otherwise we can call it as polyclonal antibodies. Here the monoclonal antibodies are getting from one type of clones of cells. That's why it is called monoclonal antibodies. And also here the specificity or the accuracy is more. Means, for example, the antibody whatever we produced by this monoclonal method, that will be effective for only a single antigen. Means, for example, it is an antigen. For example, whenever we prepare a monoclonal antibody for this antigen, we will get only a perfect match of antibody to this antigen. Means 1 to 1. It means 1 to 1. Only that antibody effectively work on one particular antigen. That is the main characteristic feature of monoclonal antibodies. Okay. Now how we can produce this monoclonal antibody, that we will see. Okay. Production of monoclonal antibodies. Whenever we want a specific type of antibody, we have to take one mammal. It may be a rat, or it may be rabbit, whatever it may be. Not only rat and rabbit. Usually we will take mouse. Okay. First of all, we have to select one experimental organism. Usually that should be mammal. Okay. And next we have to select our antigen. Okay. This is the antigen which we are going to prepare an antibody for this antigen. It is a antigen. Now we are going to prepare antibody against this antigen. Only it will be useful to fight against this antigen. That's why we are calling it as monoclonal antibodies. This is a first step. First of all, we have to select one healthy mouse. Okay, healthy mouse. And in the next step, we have to inject an antigen into healthy mouse. Okay. What happened? Not only in case of mouse, any organism, after entering any antigen into body, what happened? They will release some proteins, or nothing but immunoglobulins, because all organisms having more or less immune system. Okay. Here also there will be some immunity power or immune system, so that the rat will release some immunoglobulins or antibodies against this antigen. Okay. It is an antigen. It is a antibody. Okay, the rat will or mouse will release some antibodies against this antigen. Now in the next step, simply we have to collect these released antibodies. Whatever the mouse released some antibodies, right, that antibodies we have to isolate or we have to collect from rat. Where these antibodies produced means in a gland called spleen. In spleen, usually the antibody is nothing but a plasma cells. Plasma cells. They release or they transform into plasma cells. These plasma cells may have antibodies. Okay, these spleen cells can produce plasma cells. That plasma cells having antibodies. These antibodies work or fight against this antigen. Okay, now we have to collect these spleen cells. Okay, these spleen cells from rat. Okay, these are plasma cells. Okay, these are plasma cells. We are collected from spleen of mouse. Okay, now this is first step. After isolate this, we have to harvest antibodies and store for further use. Okay, the procedure is very simple, but here we have successfully isolated antibodies which is working against this antigen. It is final destination, but here there will be two drawbacks. One is these antibodies having low durability. Low durability means they will survive or they will be function up to 1 week or 2 weeks or up to 1 month. Okay, that is one drawback. Another one is it is not a bulk production. Bulk production means the productivity is very low. Okay, that's why it is very low in production. But we can do one more thing, that is whenever we isolated, for example, 100 plasma cells, we can directly grow them in vitro. Through in vitro culture, we can easily get multiple cells, multiple plasma cells or multiple antibodies from 100 cells. That is also possible. But though there will be some drawback, that is due to lack of lifespan, long lifespan, we are unable to store them for a long time. That is a drawback. That's why though we are successfully harvesting these antibodies through this method, we need to improve, right? That's why we are following another technique to continuation to this, that is hybridoma technology. Hybridoma technology. What is hybridoma technology and how we can perform this procedure, that we will see step by step. Now the name itself indicates that something we are going to hybridizing. Okay, now we will discuss the further steps also. Now we have plasma cells here, we have plasma cells here which are very effective in the production of monoclonal antibody. Okay, monoclonal antibody, they're perfectly alright, they can give antibodies. Now we have to collect another cell lines called myeloma cells. From where we are getting these myeloma cells means from bone marrow. From bone marrow we are extracting these myeloma cells. These myeloma cells having the capability, that is continuously dividing capacity. That is nothing but myeloma cells, nothing but cancerous cells. They are immortal. Immortal means there is no death for these cells. They are continuously dividing. Nothing but cancerous cells, they are immortal. Means they never die. Okay. Now, by using these two cells as a precursors, we are preparing monoclonal antibodies. Now we will see step by step. Now we have two cell lines. One is plasma cells, what we are isolated from mouse, and also we have another cells called myeloma cells or cancer cells, which we collected from bone marrow. Okay, bone marrow. These are plasma cells collected from spleen of mouse. Okay, now we are actually applying hybridoma technology. That is, we are going to fuse these two cells. Okay, we are going to fuse these two cells. Okay, now we are going to fuse or fusion procedure. What we are doing here is we are going to fuse these two cells, means by using a chemical compound, that is PEG or polyethyl glycol. By using this chemical, or more frequently a method called electroporation. It is an electric treatment where apply to fuse these two cells, so that we will get hybrids, either this or either this. By using any of these two methods, we are making hybrid cells. Hybrid cells means half cells will be from myeloma cells, half cells will be plasma cells. Like this we will get hybrids. But the formation of hybrids is not that much easy. That's why we will get different cell lines. There may be some cells after this fusion treatment, the outcome may be, expected outcome may be like this. Some cells may not undergone fusion. That's why still they are as it is, as that of plasma cells. Here also, in case of myeloma cells also, they are as it is. Okay, there is no fusion. Sometimes the fusion occur, but in between two plasma cells. Okay, in between two plasma cells. That's why we will get this type of hybrid. Okay, again here also the same thing. We will get hybrid, but between myeloma cells only. Now our interest is to produce a hybrid of plasma cell and myeloma cells, because the basic interest and the basic thing is the plasma cells are cells which can produce antibodies. Okay, that's why we need plasma cells only, actually, mainly. But here the drawback is lack of lifespan. Okay, that's why we are doing something. Now we will see what is that. Okay, here the advantage is, here there is no antibody production. But here the importance of myeloma cells is lifespan. They have a specific nature, that is immortal. The cells are immortal. That's why whenever we make hybrid of these cells and myeloma cells, here due to hybridization we get immortal nature to these cells, At the same time, by fusion of these cells get the antibody producing nature. That's why whenever we get these hybrids, we get both the things. One is immortal nature and antibody production, so that we can continuously produce antibodies from these hybrid cells. That's why our interest is these cells, but the percentage is very very low. Like for example, if we try to fuse 100 cells, maybe 1 or 2% may fuse. That is a main disadvantage of this. But after getting these 1 or 2% cells, we can make them mini clones. That is not an issue. But we are getting this hybrid is very rare. After getting these hybrids, okay, we don't know which cell line having hybrid cell, which is not having hybrid cells. That's why we need to collect all these cell lines, okay, all these cell lines, okay, in the holistic manner. We need to collect all these cell lines. We have to grow them on an artificial media for cloning. Okay, the artificial media name is hat media. Sorry, all should be capital. Okay, hat media. Okay, we have to grow them on a media, a specially prepared media, that is hat media. What is the full form of hat media? Very important. Hypoxanthine aminopterin thymidine media or medium. This is the full form of hat media. We have to allow these cells on hat media. What is the importance of hat media? Here, it is a selective media. Selective media means only hybrid cells can grow on this media. Remaining all cells will be die. What is the reason for that? That also we will discuss. Whatever the cell, they follow two pathways. They follow two pathways for their divisions. One is de novo pathway, another one is Salvage pathway. These are two pathways. Through this, the living cell can divide and multiply. Okay, either Salvage pathway or de novo pathway. In the de novo pathway, actually, what happened? By using sucrose and amino acids, by using sucrose and amino acid, the molecules whatever present in the media, by using sucrose and amino acids, okay, present in this media, the cells can grow. The cells can grow by using sucrose and amino acids of media through de novo pathway. But here we are adding aminopterin. One of the constituent is aminopterin. It is the reason to block this de novo pathway. Okay, to block the de novo pathway. It actually block the de novo pathway, means they are unable to utilize the sucrose and amino acids from this media. That's why this is one reason to death of these myeloma cells from this media. Okay, this is one reason. Okay, now the another way is Salvage pathway. In the Salvage pathway, there will be another enzyme work here. That is the enzyme name is HGPT enzyme. HGPT enzyme. It is an enzyme that is useful to cell growth. Okay, that is HGPT enzyme. The full form is hypoxanthine guanine phosphorybosyl transferase. This is an enzyme which is naturally occur in plasma cells. HGPT, it is an enzyme which is naturally present in plasma cells, but here it is HGPT enzyme is absent in myeloma cells. Okay, this is one reason to eliminate. We can simply eliminate with this property because they are lacking HGPT enzyme, but here it is present. That's why plasma cells can grow on this media, but myeloma cells will not survive on this media. That is one reason. The de novo pathway, here the myeloma cells also luxuriously grown on this media whenever we are not add this aminopterin substance, but we are adding hypoxanthine aminopterin thymidine medium. We are using hypoxanthine aminopterin thymidine medium. Here the aminopterin is a being one of the constituent. That's why the de novo pathway, it is also arrested. That's why it is also failed to follow de novo pathway. Here it is also failed to follow Salvage pathway and also de novo pathway. But here it is also, these cells also unable to follow de novo pathway because they are also facing problem with this aminopterin. That's why they are also fail to grow in the presence of aminopterin. But here one more advantage to plasma cells is presence of HGPT enzyme, which is useful to the growth in the absence of in the presence of this aminopterin also. That's why they are naturally they are having that capability or capacity to grow on this HAT media. That's why these plasma cells can survive on this media, remaining cells will not survive. That's why in this media, whenever we add these all cells on this media, these myeloma cells will die. Again here the myeloma cells will be die, and again myeloma plus myeloma cells also die. Okay, now come to here, the plasma cells will survive. Again plasma plus plasma cells also survive. Here hybrid plasma cells and myeloma cells, they are also survive because it is hybrid. Myeloma cells, the part of myeloma cells not having capacity to grow on this, but the presence of a hybrid portion, that is plasma portion, it is giving capacity to grow on this medium. That's why these cells are also grown on this media. But here we may get one more doubt. If these three cells are growing on media, it is very difficult to isolate these hybrid cells, right? That's why here one more advantage is, here the lack of another characteristic feature is lack of lifespan. Only myeloma cells having lifespan, long lifespan, immortality nature. But here these cells are lacking lifespan. That's why we just grow them for 1 or 2 weeks, automatically without any other techniques, automatically themselves they are eliminated or they die, or they die on the medium. Only these hybrid cells, because due to the presence of myeloma cells, they are become immortal. That's why these hybrid cells only, they are continuously growing on this medium in the large quantities. That's why automatically we will get only exclusively these hybrid cells. These hybrid cells having two advantages. Now one is they become immortal now, that is one advantage. One more thing is they can able to produce antibodies, that is another thing. Now finally what we acquired or what we got from this technique is these two things, and also we are producing only a single type of antibody for a single antigen, because we injected one known antibody into the mouse. We injected only one antibody into the antigen into the mouse. In the spleen they can release they released only one type of antibody against this antigen. That's why that only we isolated. That's why we collected only one type of antibody initially, that we fused with an immortal cells. Finally we get hybrid. We allow hybrid cells to the multiplication on HAT media, that is nutrient media, so that In the bulk, we are producing these immortal cells and these antibody cells now. That is a production process of monoclonal antibodies from hybridoma technology. Since we are using a hybrid technique, this procedure is known as hybridoma technology. What is the application advantage of this hybridoma technology? Means even in the natural also, from the mouses we can easily we can get antibiotics naturally, but here sometimes we need more bulk amount of antibodies. At the times we are follow this method. Okay, now we will see quick recap of hybridoma technology. In this technology, first of all, we need two things. Number one is an animal, usually a mammal, and second one is an antigen. Okay, first of all, we have to inject an antigen into that animal. Here we took one mouse as a experimental animal. The process is known as immunization. First of all, we inject antigen into mouse. The process is known as immunization. In the next step, after 1 or 2 days, the animal react to this antigen and produce some antibodies against antigen, because the immune system of this mouse will react on antigen so that it produce some antibodies against this. Okay, the entire the process is happening in spleen. Okay, now in the next step we have to collect these cells from spleen. These antibodies nothing but their plasma cells. These antibodies are produced on plasma cells, so that we have to collect plasma cells from spleen of this mouse. Okay, here plasma cells collected from spleen. Now here we have to fuse these cells with some other cells. Here those cells, these cells are called myeloma cells. Myeloma cells, otherwise called as cancerous cells. Okay, cancerous cells collected from bone marrow. Okay, bone marrow, they are having an ability, that continuously dividing ability. Okay, in the next step we have to fuse these plasma cells and these myeloma cells, because myeloma cells having the capability continuously they can able to divide, and they are immortal. Here plasma cells are having ability to produce antibodies, but the lifespan is very short, 1 week or 2 week, within 1 month. That's why we need to fuse these two things, then we can store these cells after for a long time. That is the idea of this. Okay, so that we have to fuse these two cells. The fusion is called hybridization. It is carried out, or it is done by PEG, polyethyl glycol, or electroporation. It is carried out by electrical field. It is a chemical compound. Either this method, we have to fuse these two cells. After fusion, we get these probabilities. Here it is our requirement, that is hybrid cells. Actually it is very rare when compared with others. Okay, what are the probabilities that we will see? Some cells, plasma cells, not fused, that's why they remain as it is. Some plasma cells, two plasma cells or more plasma cells can fuse together, so that it is not useful. Here also myeloma cells also, some cells they remain as it is, so that it is not useful. Here some myeloma cells fuse together, it is also not useful. Here it is very important, because here plasma cell also there, myeloma cells also there, so that they carry two characteristic features. That is, one is immortality also present, and the production of antibodies activity also present in this hybrid. That's why it is very important, but we don't know which one is hybrid, which one is not hybrid. That's why we need to collect all these cells, and we are allowed to grow them in a selective media called HAT media. The full form of HAT is hypoxanthine aminopterin thymidine media. Okay, it is a selective media for hybrid. Okay, in this media, whenever we allow to grow the cells usually having two pathways. One is Salvage pathway, another one is de novo pathway. Now we will discuss about these pathways. In the de novo pathway, usually the dividing cell utilize sugars and amino acids from this nutrient media. By using sugars and amino acids from nutrient media, they divide and they grow. Okay, but here the problem is, for that, dehydrofolate reductase, this is an enzyme which is useful for de novo pathway. But here, due to the presence of aminopterin, which hide or which block the activity of dehydrofolate reductase, so that the pathway entirely blocked. That's why these cells, the myeloma cells will be die or will not successful on this media. That's why they are not show growth. And next thing, what about Salvage cells? To perform Salvage pathway, the cells should contain HGPD, called hypoxanthine guanine phosphoriboside transferase enzyme. It is also enzyme. Whenever the cells whenever to perform this pathway, the cells should contain these HGPT enzymes. But in case of myeloma cells, it is also absent. Both are absent. That's why they fail to grow in this method and in this method also, in case of myeloma cells. But whenever we come to the plasma cells, here also they are not utilize these sugars and amino acids from media. They are also very similar to these myeloma cells. But in case of plasma cells, they are naturally having HGPT, that is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosal transferase. That's why they are successfully grow on media in Salvage pathway. That's why at the final we will get only exclusively plasma cells only. But here these cells also having HGPT enzyme, these cells also having HGPT enzyme, and it is also because here the half of the portion is having plasma related thing. That's why it is also having HGPT enzyme. That's why these hybrids are also growing. Now here there will be complexity, right? Because these three are growing. Whenever these three are growing, we are unable to identify which is hybrid, which is not hybrid. Okay, but here one more advantage is they are actually short-lived cells. Okay, their lifespan is very short. That's why we should wait for 1 or 2 weeks. Within 1 or 2 weeks, these cells undergo natural death or apoptosis, so that only hybrid cells only remain on this media, because they are hybridized with myeloma cells, which is having immortality nature. That's why these hybrids only successfully grow for a long time on media. That cells having the capacity to produce antibodies, and also they gain immortality nature from myeloma cells. That's why whenever we produce these cells in the bulk form, from that we can able to get our monoclonal antibody in the bulk form, because they're continuously dividing. That's why whenever we want antibodies, we have to grow them on artificial media, so that we can get antibodies of our requirement quantities. And now we will see the applications of monoclonal antibodies. Nowadays, these monoclonal antibodies are widely using in medicine and diagnostic areas. Okay, the first application is biochemical analysis. Biochemical analysis of blood means it includes antibody and antigen tests. Whenever we have some symptoms like fever or viral fever or bacterial fever, whatever it may be, immediately the doctor will suggest us to antibody checkup or antigen checkup. Okay, either antibody, either antigen. Okay, whatever it may be, we can, after doing this, we can easily understand whether we are having that particular disease or not, based on the presence of antibodies or antigens. Okay, that's the best example for biochemical analysis. Not only diseases, even some tests like pregnancy tests, okay, the pregnancy confirmation tests, and hormonal disorders, okay, and even in cancer treatment and diagnosis. Okay, in the cancer diagnosis. In these fields, usually these monoclonal antibodies are widely using. And the second one is we can enhance phagocytosis efficiency of diseased patient cells. Whenever a person got some severe disease, after few days they completely lost their immune efficiency, so that we can enhance phagocytic efficiency of diseased patient cells. Means phagocytes means it's nothing but an activity of white blood cells. Due to lack of immunity, the white blood cells also reduce like anything. That's why whenever we inject or we can induce some new blood cells or some new monoclonal antibodies or plasma cells into that particular person, so that we can enhance the phagocytosis efficiency of diseased patient. Okay, in this way also we can save that particular diseased patient. Okay, and we can also use these antibodies in during organ transplantation. We can also use monoclonal antibodies during organ transplantation. For what purpose? To suppress organ rejection. What is the function of white blood cells? Okay, what is the function of white blood cells in our body or our immune system? To reject antigen. In the organ transplantation, even an organ, the foreign organ also is nothing but an antigen. Okay, that's why whenever we are adding any foreign organ, that also the white blood cells considered as antigen, so that immediately they respond against this organ. So that by using some specific monoclonal antibodies, we can suppress the WBC reaction against antigen. Antigen here is organ. There is a function of monoclonal antibodies in organ transplantation. In this way also, these monoclonal antibodies are widely using nowadays, and they are also useful in protein purification. What is purification? Means isolation of a single type of protein from a group of proteins. Here an antibody is nothing but a protein, an antigen is nothing but protein. Okay, whenever we prepare an antibody against an antigen, means whenever we use this particular antigen, we can able to get back that antibody. In the same way, by using antibody also we can trace out that particular protein or that particular antigen. Means by using an antibody we can get back the antigen protein, or we can purify the antigen protein exclusively. That is the protein purification. Okay, this is all about the monoclonal antibodies and their applications. Thank you.